Future Joe here. We're going to start the video a bit weird. The video is going to start properly just after this small segment. I accidentally came back into town and spoke to a load of NPCs whilst I wasn't recording. This shouldn't be very difficult. They're all going to have exclamation marks above their heads, and Mr. Old One here is now going to be available for you to talk to. And the cool thing about this guy is we can actually refund passives. We'll talk about that at a later time when it's more important. But more importantly, we can now identify items for free. This does mean that you get more gold for them when you sell them, so it's just something worth bearing in mind. And with that said, we can continue with the video. So we finally made it to the hunting grounds. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I just want to bring the map up for a second. So we need to make sure that as a part of clearing this area, we also clear the Fraythorn area. Now you can see that's going to be a little bit harder, only a little bit, and the boss there can hurt, but I think we're going to be okay. Anyways, as usual, we're going to set about clearing the map. There are a couple of things here we need to make sure we get. Oh, let me just clear out. We have a stat increase. I can't remember which one this is. This one is extremely important. It's going to give us spirit and our first aura. We want that, and we're going to make sure that we get all of these things grayed out. Now we do have a ritual that we need to interact with, so we'll look at that in a second as we progress through the area. The concept stays the same. I am actually going to change how I am armored though. I had some recommendations from people while I was live streaming, and if you haven't already, I'll post a link to my Discord down in the description, so you guys can go ahead and you can join that, talk to each other, give each other tips and stuff. It's actually been really nice kind of watching that happen, how people have been helping each other. But the tip that I was given was to switch to armor and energy shield, and this will help us to avoid getting one shot by physical attacks. So I'm going to be on the lookout for a set of armor and energy shield boots that I can switch. That's actually not terrible. I might even craft onto these, and we're going to switch over with the rest of the gear as well. Additionally, I'm probably going to try to switch to a wand and a focus. It always feels bad, but once we start getting higher level gems and damage is not an issue, we don't need this +1 level to all cold skills. That is what we're going to change to and attempt to continue improving. It's going to give us some extra defenses and that kind of stuff. So just kind of interested to do that myself as well. And with all of that said, we are off. Alright, so right at our first checkpoint, we're going to be going into the Trail of the Beastmaster. Of course, my map is going to be different to yours. You may encounter things in different orders. But yeah, we're going to get locked periodically in a room with a beast in here. So this can be pretty mean, and we haven't had many upgrades on this map yet, or at least I haven't. So I guess we'll see how this goes. Can we freeze you? Yes, we can. Frostbomb on there. As it takes damage, it's going to like flee to different rooms. That's kind of what we're waiting for here. Now, I'm not sure if we can still damage it or not while it's fleeing. It seems we can, so I guess we can still keep the freeze building up. So we follow it out, it's going to trap us in a room. Let's get freeze online. Now, one of the surprising things is that a lot of the time, and this is the case with this boss, even as a caster, one of the safest places to be is actually kind of close to the boss, so that we can easily roll around its moves. Sometimes if you're a bit further away, it catches you a little bit easier. And of course, we're going to follow it into its next arena. We're going to keep that exposure on there, keep the damage going in. And again, look, see, so we were so close to it, passed right over me. Behind it for that hit, behind it for that hit, look. So trying to like stay further back here would actually have been a disadvantage for most of that boss battle. So, as I say, in my opinion, you kind of want to keep close to it. All right, pick everything up and use the Book of Specialization. We now have 2 weapon set points. Now, I can show you how these work, and I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with them yet. So you can use them as normal passives. Right, so I could use them as normal passives. They could just be 2 free points. If you're not bothered about switching between damage or element types, that's entirely up to you. But there is a cool thing that we can do with them, okay? So if I was to select weapon set 1 and select this way, I can also select weapon set 2 and select this way. And now, if I had 2 weapons equipped, when I switch between those 2 weapons, it'll actually modify the tree depending on the weapon that I'm using. So I'm actually going to save those 2 because this gets confusing if you don't use them when you are set up for it. You could go ahead, put these in any way you want. So let's say you want some extra cast speed, you can go ahead and you could take that now. Or where are we heading towards? We are heading towards, I think I'm trying to get to here anyway. So I could put 1 point in there, for example, wait until I level again, put a point in there, and then we can actually start spreading into the trees that I want. That's a good thing to know. Now, if you try and do this, they're obviously not going to count as taken passives. So I can't use weapon skill 1 and then weapon skill 2, and then I can't continue going in this direction. So it's actually a bad idea for me to use them as weapon points right now. So I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to save those. You can use them as however you want. If you are like completely sold on ice, you can be like, bam, bam, I'm going ahead 2 points, I'm good. Or I'm over here, and soon, you know, we're going to get a nice little spell damage cluster over here, which is going to ramp up our damage a bit and get us some extra cast speed, which is good. Or whatever else it is you want to do with them. But they're explained now, so I hope that kind of just clarifies how they go. Cool thing is, if you use them as normal passives, you can still, because it'll kind of give you like a indicate here how many you can use, you can still, as you gain passives later, turn them into weapon passives. This is what I had to do, but it feels bad doing that because you're only like leveling up one weapon at a time, and I don't like it. So like I said, I'm gonna save those for now, just so that I can use them when I think it's more opportune to do so. We can continue on. As we're going around the map, we are going to have these ritual altars here. These are actually going to be relative to a mechanic as we go along, but for now, we just interact it, kill all the enemies, and collect the item at the end. So just go ahead and get that done. Go ahead and talk to the NPC. And then we can grab a brand new uncut skill. It gave me a level 4. That feels really early for level 4. But we'll take it. All right. Frostbomb goes up. Sick. More damage. We got a cheeky little level up, and I think for now, I'm going to go towards the natural spell damage. That's what I want to have. Am I a bit tight on any of my skill gem time? So I always like to make sure I've got at least one of each spare. So right now, in this situation, I kind of want to take Dex, because that way, if a green support gem comes up that I want, I'll be able to take it. So that's kind of the way that I do it. So we default to Intelligence if that has already been met as a standard. So we default to Intelligence, but if we need to have a little bit of leeway, then we can just add that in. We're only a couple of points away from even more spell damage, so it's going to be pretty nice as that starts rolling in. All right, we've got another mini boss. Let's deal with you. Feeling lightning, eh? Nice and easy. Oh man, you can really feel the difference in the drops today. They've updated how much gear we get dropped, and it is night and day. So much gear now. That's good. All the stuff I want to look at now. Oh yeah, we have way better access to goodies. All right, we've got another skill gem. Oh, this time it's a support gem. Okay. What doesn't have supports yet that I want to support? Frostbolt could do something. We don't want it to go slower. Now, sometimes when you're faced with this menu here and you can't quite see anything that you want, a good thing to do is to look at the keywords. So you guys see at the top right hand corner, we can see this is classed as AoE projectile called duration. We're going to put this on like this, and we can see projectile. So we can say projectile. Now we could have it move faster, for example, or we can move slow, which was already there, or we can have it chain. Okay, something like this, or we could put in there AoE. So let's go with AoE, and we can see this is obviously not going to work for us. Poison, no. Wind wave, trigger wind wave, no, we don't want that. Expanse, supported skills have more area of effect but a cooldown. We don't really want that right now. Could be good for combat later on though. Additional freeze on the ground, we don't really need that. So it can make each ball smaller but do more damage. We could try that. Let's have a test. I don't think I used that on this before. How much smaller of an area is it? I don't really like it's really not an issue on these. We'll play around with that for a little bit. We'll see how that feels, right? This time it was an uncut skill gem. This time level 3 though. Not anything that I want. The only real thing we can do is upgrade Flame Ball, which is already questionable in our build, but we'll do it. And with enough searching, we found the Fraythorn. Make sure you go into all of the different corners. I went all the way across the map, and it turned out it was right next to where we started. So just bear that in mind as you're going through. We're also going to clear this out as well. A little bit higher level enemies here, so we do need to be careful. But the same thing applies. Okay, we can check the map. We can see in the previous map we've been and we've gotten everything. And we're going to clear this out now. Now, the next time we travel through there, I am going to be resetting that so we can clear through some enemies, which is good. And I thought we were supposed to get more trails in there, but we didn't, which is kind of weird. Now, we should end up getting a bonus in here because we cleanse the ritual altars. And once we defeat the boss, we will get the chance to choose some loot. So pretty good, actually, especially if you want to get some decent or more updated gear for the act. It's not terribly important right now, but just so you guys are aware of kind of how this is going to work. So make sure before you face the boss, which does have a checkpoint before it, you've got all of the ritual altars on the map, which is what we're going to be doing first. As you can see, a bit more tight in here, walkways everywhere. So just be careful not to get caught out. Make sure we grab the waypoint. Ooh, we got another cheeky level up. Only one more away now from being able to get into here. Now, something else that I've noticed is we're actually going to need to alternate between strength and intelligence, because my current plan of putting on the armor and energy shield stuff requires a mix of stats. So need to bear that in mind as we move forward. Should not be an issue realistically. Wow, we're getting currency today. I always call it currency, but crafting items are dropping quite nicely today. I'm going to assume people are going to like that. And this is actually the kind of thing that we want to be wearing now. So if I can get something that'll switch onto there, the only real thing that I need to care about on that is life. Nothing else really matters. And that's got 11 strength on there, which is actually going to help me in terms of wearing other stuff as well. So I think I might actually switch for that. 10 strength is going to give me life as well. Can we see that? 30, 228. So it actually comes out as more life, even though that had life rolled on it, which is cool. I don't keep it. Yeah, so that should be fine. It's going to make us a bit tougher as we go forward. The biggest issue in here I've found, and I obviously don't have it on screen right now, is sometimes you're going to come across chaos damage, and that penetrates your shield, so you just need to be careful about that. Keep an eye on it. Got ourselves another ritual altar, same as before. We're going to go ahead and interact with that, back off a little bit. And I had a pretty significant staff upgrade, which gives more cold damage and more cold spell levels, which is going to be pretty hard to replace. I really want to move to wand and focus, but it's making it very difficult for me. Next, ritual altar. See if we get anything good from this one as we continue through Freythorn. Here's my third ritual altar. We want to make sure we get all of them before we face the boss. Discuss this a little bit in a second. All right, and that should mean that now we have all of these ones lit up, and I think that is everything. So we've got all 3 done in the zone. Let me just double check. All right, so the boss arena is notable because you can see up there it's a rather large looking circular thing. We can start seeing that we have a bunch of markings up there. Here's a good time to just be kind of prepared. Make sure you've got your potions full. If you've already used the checkpoint because you went off and explored, you can obviously just use your portal, use the well back in town. We should be okay. It's important to make sure we get a comfortable win. When I say comfortable win, what I mean is that we're not about to die just as we're defeating the boss, because we really don't want to lose the reward from this. And it seems like the first time you defeat it is the only guaranteed time. I don't know if we can farm the spirit gems from it. So just make sure you kind of, you're not about to die as you beat the boss. Otherwise, we might get some accidents. We're going to come in, deal with the final ritual altar. I have a load of mobs that want to spawn in on us. Once we get all those dealt with, we should find that we have the boss start to appear. King of the Mists. Don't be fooled. In his basic form, he looks nice and easy, but he's gonna progress as we go through. There we go, I'm trapped now. Oh, we actually got his health pretty far down there, which is good. But he gets to heal anyway, so don't get too excited. Now, of course, you can see there's a lot of ground denial here, so we need to just stay away from all of his little puss things that he makes. And try not to let his energy shield recharge. That's a big disadvantage for us if that happens. I'm not entirely sure how we avoid getting trapped. Sometimes it likes to fire like a red thing that goes underneath you. The best fix, in my experience, is just get as far away from it as you can so they can't come and do any of his melee attacks against you. The Frost Bomb pretty handily takes care of it. Right, let's stay away from stuff like this. Make sure we get all of the loot. We want the skull. We're going to interact with this. Did we not get... I don't think we got the spirit skill gem. That's interesting. But because we got all of the ritual altars, let's talk about this mechanic right here. We've got 889 points. If we don't spend them all, we lose them. So you might as well take anything that looks good or even mildly useful. So like we could take this, for example, because we know we can deconstruct that. Let's get cold resistance. Don't care. Don't care. So the only thing I'd even get anything out of is this. Now let's just make some space. Use the skull up. Ah, there's the spirit gem. Sick. Alright, so have a look through these to make sure to see if there's anything that you like the look of. We've got Grim Feast and a lot of other things. I feel like the best thing to take is probably Arctic Armor because we don't have any evasion stacking. If we were going to go, for example, into doing evasion and energy shield, we could do something like Ghost Dance, but I don't think we want to do that. I would much prefer something that's going to make us deal more damage. But we don't have anything like that right now. One of the best things to do if you are doing fire or minion builds is take Raging Spirits. This is actually very strong if you are doing fire or a minion build, but we are not doing that. It's also worth pointing out that we could get Withered, and Withered makes it so that enemies take increased chaos damage. So if you're doing the Witch with chaos damage, or if you're doing the Sorceress with chaos damage, which probably doesn't really work out very well, you could take Withering Presence, which would be pretty good. But we're going to go with Arctic Armor. It gives us the biggest benefit right now. Now the problem is, there's actually something that's very tempting, which is actually going to break this skill for us if we try doing it right now. There is an upgrade for this that'll make it so that mana regenerates faster whilst we have it active, but it takes an additional 10 spirit, which we just don't have access to right now. If you do find an amulet that has it on, you could certainly do this, and this will be a big benefit to you, because obviously mana can start to become an issue as we're moving forward if we don't start looking at ways to get that to start regenerating for itself. So I'm just going to make some space so we can get some prizes out of this. We can keep going until there's not enough points left for us to take anything, which is now. That's all good. I'm going to go ahead, obviously, get my inventory cleared out so we can get some more loot. We can get our inventory cleared out so that things are prepped and ready for later. Oh, let's not put that into guild stash. That'd be bad. So that we can get our inventory cleared out and ready for later. Let me continue putting this stuff in here. I've actually been accidentally putting this character stuff in my main stash, so we would actually have more than this. But you can see just how much of this stuff we've been getting. There's loads. We already have our first artificer orb, which is going to be important for later. It's going to make getting cold resistance much easier against the last boss if we are struggling with it. All right then, with a clear inventory, time for us to continue going forward then. So we're going back to the hunting grounds now because we need to reach the Ogham Farmlands. Now, as always, when we go back to the hunting grounds here, we're going to go ahead, we're going to make ourselves a new instance, explore our way around, and make our way to the next zone. Alright, time for us to enter the farmlands then. So I've just been through the hunter's lands again. Didn't really get much out of it, but it's cool to get a bit of currency and all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead, empty out the inventory. And as you can see in this area, we actually have a new symbol, but it still has the plus sign on it, which means we're going to get a permanent benefit. So we need to make sure, find Una's hut and get the instrument from it. So that's going to be something we keep our eye out for as we go through. Monster levels have increased again, so we need to be careful. And we do in fact have. So we're going to get all of this cleared out now. Start moving forward. We point as we go through. We are coming up to my usual hour now, so we'll probably finish after this zone. There's only really 2 after this, and then we're on to the final boss, which will probably get its own video. We've got another cheeky level up, and I think it's time for us to start getting more spell damage, which is gorgeous. Got ourselves an extra uncut support gem as well. Let's see what's got a slot in it. Arctic armor. So here we go, look. Here's where we could be tempted to get. We won't actually be able to keep Arctic armor on, so we need to find something that has it on before we can do this. Scepters are an option, but all of the bonuses from scepters are on allies, so that's terrible for us. So we're not really going to be doing that. We could improve Flame Wall, don't care about that. So really the only thing that even has a slot on it for me right now is Nova. So let's see if there is anything here that we like the look of. And I think I'm going to take Expanse. We don't really mind about it having the 6-second cooldown. It's a panic button, and it's going to have a bigger area of effect. Let's at least see how that looks. Yeah, so that'll just make it so that we... Oh, but it prevents us using all of the charged skills. Let's not do that. That sucks. I have both of those on at the same time. Now, for the checkpoint as you're coming through, often this is outside of the hut and should allow us to get Una's loot, which we pretty much want to turn in straight away, so we'll go ahead and we'll get that done now. We get some extra weapon sets points, which is good, and allows us to clear out our inventory all over again. While exploring, the Ogham Farms should bring us out to the Ogham Village, which is where we're going to finish this episode. The next one is probably going to be prepping for the end of the act. We may go over freshly acquiring gear or crafting some gear. We're probably going to start putting some runes on just so that we are ready for the boss. So expect that very soon.